Hey, welcome to my live demonstration tonight. We're going to put some fabulous color on this antique dresser tonight, so join me as I take a few minutes to experiment and have some fun with this dresser. I've got about 4 colors that I'm going to be working with, and we'll see how it goes. I've got some ideas of what I want to do, kind of doing a little bit of backwards as far as how I want it to look, meaning I want to bring a lot of reds out, but I've covered the dresser with gray, so I'm going to go a little backwards with it. And so tonight, I'll maybe work on my right side over here, see how it goes. As I've said in multiple videos in the past, if I mess it up, I'll paint over it and try something else. So we're kind of experimenting together. As far as colors go, the key is to have a variety. With this technique, we'll be using a water sprayer, palette knife, a brush, and then I've got the original gray color, a lighter gray, and then a bit of a red sienna color, and then also some blue. We want to keep this thing looking aged, maybe even a little bit hand painted for sure. So everything about this is custom and should provide some variety. There's some cool detail of roses on here that should pop out a little bit as we're done. The finished result of this in a few days, I'll put a glaze over it to kind of neutralize and balance these colors out. So if it looks really bright, the glaze, the dark glaze, antique glaze, will tone it down and it'll look like it's maybe been painted a few times throughout the years. And so that's kind of the goal. It's actually raining outside, so we've got a little bit of extra background noise, so if you hear that rumble, we're getting a rainstorm. And it sounds really nice, very inspirational for this. Now, one of the things I'm going to do a lot on this paint is I'm going to use my palette knife to do a lot of the painting. Sometimes it's good to put a second coat of color on here and then come back with the other color so you have something to work into, so that's always nice. I don't have a ton of paint left, so I'm going to do a very light, almost wet application so that I don't have to do a full coverage. Right now I'm just watering down my work area. I did not paint inside the drawers. Normally I would take all this stuff out, but with this age and everything, I wanted to kind of, and with this technique, you need all the pieces here. So again, I wet it down, but right now I'm just putting a wet coat to give me kind of a wet on wet canvas with this technique. It also extends my paint a little bit. I don't need to add any more color to this dresser, so just kind of wetting the surface down. There are plenty of other people who do techniques like this, so I'm not claiming to do any kind of original art, but I do like the style. I don't do it a lot because I don't think everybody likes it, so I do it enough to find enjoyment. So I've got a little light gray now, and what I'm hoping to accomplish is just an occasional catching of some edges. And again, there's really not a science to it. I'm just hoping for kind of some random edges that you're going to catch. The more detail you have, the more interesting your result's going to be. And again, I'm just catching some of these. There's a little bit of detail over here in the corner. I'm going to catch that with this. Getting it in there on the edge. Don't worry about using your fingers. Just touch it and drag it as you see fit. You can, if you want, distress, meaning just come back and do some scraping and sanding. And in fact, with this technique, I'd say it's probably encouraged. I have a little water bucket here. Sometimes that helps. Now, I could do this light color first. I'll probably find out pretty quick whether or not I should have started out with it. But you can see this is the color I'm hoping to be really bold. And I really want this to stand out. But I don't want it to be too prominent that it takes over. I'm just putting this color down around where the hardware is because I want the eye to be drawn to that section of the dresser. If you do put something too much down, that's where you can come back with your original color and put some more color over it. I'm going to try and accent some of these roses with the red. Almost like 100 years ago, this was painted. They painted the roses and they just worn off over time. So I really want to purposely accentuate that. I guarantee you that out of 100 people, not everybody's going to like this technique, but that's okay. I'm doing it for that one or two people who want something original and different. So again, first thing I'm going to do is wet it down. You really want to kind of keep this going. I'm going to let that color sink in a little bit. I mentioned I have a blue, and I want this to really be seldomly used. I want this just to kind of accent, but rarely. I don't want this to be full blue. So just a few dabs of the color to add some variety. The next thing that we'll do is I'm going to go back and spray it lightly. That'll keep those colors wet. If there's anything that you don't like, you can come back with the color and touch it, drag it. You can even take your finger and touch it up a little bit. I'm actually encouraging some of the bleeding to happen. I'm not really down here yet, but I need to get there. So as I mentioned before, I want to use my original color. That's just a wash to get some paint on there. Set a little bit of color down before it's... When you put the water down, the water helps to blend, but if there's nothing there to blend with, it's not going to do any work. So this just gives my color somewhere to go. And being purposefully messy, if you will. I want anything to look planned or perfect. Alright. So I wet that a while ago, and I'm going to come back now and get a little bit more extra water. And this is when some of the running should start. How close and how far away you get. You can also do a little scraping if you want at this point. If something's not moving fast enough, or you've got too much paint. So move that whole area. You notice I didn't get all the way over here. This would be a good place to do a nice long drag. Let that go. The dragging of the paint kind of simulates the wear or lack of color in places. So how much, how well we're doing is all up to you. The challenge of this technique is to make the whole dresser feel like it's cohesive, like it was all done at the same time or worn out at the same amount of time in its history. So as you do the first panel, you want the whole piece to kind of get the same technique and feel. Use your finger if it's not working right. Sometimes you might see a little bit of gathering of water. You can encourage that to move along and not hang around too much. But this is the kind of thing right here where you beat the water. You might encourage that not to gather so much. Go back over and do a little bit of, you can do some dry brushing. I'll use that palette knife. Great drag. Alright, so the top's kind of got where we need to be. I'm going to bring in some of the red down below. You might just touch. Pop in, say hello, know where you're from, and if you have any questions. A little bit of blue. I want the blue to be too prominent. The dresser is really nice because it actually still has the key. It's kind of hard to, you don't always get that key with the dresser, but this one has it. So it's nice to have the key because I was able to keep these doors closed while I work on it. I'm just setting my paint down below, dragging whenever I want. If you have too much paint, just get your finger in there. You could probably get a larger palette knife. You got larger surfaces. It's perfectly fine. Just give a little spray to kind of get everything wet. In a second, I'll give it one more little extra push. Probably some other combinations that would look nice. This way is gray and teal. I thought about even gray and a deep blue. You could even come back with a clear glaze and mix the color you want. If you follow my page, as I call it, the nautical Bermuda dress I just did, I actually used a deep blue color in the clear glaze because I didn't want to use a white or a dark or an antique glaze. So the spraying part, I already sprayed once. Now you can kind of get in there if you want and really push these colors a little bit more. If you are not done at the top, just keep it moist so you can come back. You could really blast these colors if you want to run them even more. The sky, sometimes it's nice to disguise paint. I would go back after spraying and maybe push a little bit of movement, maybe even mix some other colors. It does take a leap of faith a bit on this. You decide if you like it or not. The thing to keep in mind is that there will be that moment when you go back and glaze it. That will really tone a lot of this craziness down. If you're sitting there saying, I can't believe he's putting red blood on that dresser, it'll look better. It'll feel more like a maroon, a nice aged, maybe an aged wine feel. So the goal here is just to really unify it. So whatever you do, don't switch over to the other side of the dresser and say, I changed my mind. This is it. This is how the rest of it's going to look. I probably won't do as much on the top, but I will use these colors in there, but it's going to be a little softer. But this is coming along pretty well. Of course, the judge of every finish is whether or not you can sell it. And I think when this is done, the hardware will polish up really nice. Maybe be the star of the show. But I'm hoping when it's done, this gray is going to be darker. Everything's going to be darker. And it's probably going to be more of a classy piece. But I'm excited to keep going with it. I'll keep working on it. I really need to finish it tonight, so I'll post a picture after tonight's progress is done. And if you didn't get to join me live, that's fine. Feel free to still ask a question later. Love to know whichever. I'm trying to get rid of this little bead of red right there. That would be nice. All right, so that was my live demo. Hopefully you kind of get an idea that, one, be bold, take chances, and if you mess up, you might have to do a little bit of sanding to get some of the high paint off, but paint it over. But now's the time to decide. Don't do the whole dresser and say, well, that didn't work. And kind of get an idea of what I think we can do with this, and then move on. In case you wondered, I've got a drop cloth on the ground because all this water's dripping. And it can get quite messy, so be prepared when you start painting. All right, well, have a good night, and thanks for joining. And like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to just comment, and stay tuned. We'll see how she goes.